Good evening. How are we all? Isn't the weather wonderful? Yeah, been out again. In fact, basically for the past week I've done nothing but ride the poor old glide. Um, I've been doing a lot of miles on the glide recently, and it's got me thinking how things have changed. Now, I watched a video on YouTube a couple of days ago, and it was titled "What Your Motorcycle Says About You," or "What Your Bike Says About You." Yeah, and as usual, Harley's got a fair old ass kicking. Now, yeah, I mean, this thing was tongue in cheek. The bloke he was having a bit of a joke, but I thought I'd throw my tenpenneth in, so you can see where I fit into the great scheme of Harley ownership. Okay, so I've been riding since I was 17. Yeah, I'm 72 this year, so that's a fair bit of. I've done a fair few miles now. So most of my early riding in the 70s, yeah, was painful. Painful, I don't mean in the way of falling off, because I did a couple of times. Yeah, nearly did myself in once. I had a bit of a bad do, but I survived it. Aggression and hassle from the constabulary. Yeah. If you were out on your bike, especially on a weekend, you were stopped. Every week, I was stopped every Saturday at some point. Yeah. And it would be vehicle check, documents check, which would, kill the vibe completely for the ride out. If there was a group of us, yeah, we'd all get a stern talking to about riding in a group and noise and riding aggressively. I didn't ride in a group that often, but yeah, we got pulled over a couple of times, and it was, you should be doing better than this. The old waggling of the finger, and while people are trying to pick holes in your bikes. And I know it still goes on these days, because I see it on a regular basis, but not necessarily for Harley riders. It's more the sports bike guys that get the stick from the constabulary. Anyway, so riding through, so the attitude I think in the 70s was a hangover from the mods and rockers. Yeah, in the 50s and 60s. You walk into a pub, we don't serve your sort here. I'm not serving you until you take your jacket off, that kind of thing. Don't put your helmet down there. It was all over the place. Yeah, you were made to feel really unwelcome. But I think which is why bikers in Great Britain, we wave at the old bikers do. We wave at each other because we know we've all gone through the same crap, and huge amounts of it. It sort of tailed off in the 80s, and now, yeah, you don't get so much unless they're having a clamp down, and then what they do is they'll corral people in somewhere like there's a popular motorcycle hotspot where everybody meets at Market Raisin, and the old Bill are usually not far from there on a Saturday. So I passed my test, 250s, you pass your test, Triumph Bonneville. I wanted to Triumph Bonneville, and I rode that to death. I didn't stop riding that until after I got the Harley. Yeah, so I got my Bonneville in 75. Yeah, my Bonneville in 75, because I had the Ducati in 74. So it's the Bonneville in 75, then I got the Harley, yeah, and then slowly I phased the Bonneville out, and it's undercovers over there somewhere. So why did I pick a Harley? Well, before this one, I'd actually ridden 3 others. One was in the mid-70s. One was in the mid-70s. I'd refurbished, I'd done some work on a friend's Ironhead Sportster, because all the Sportsters were Ironheads at that time. And it wasn't a bad little bike. It was a little bit agricultural, but it was a nice enough bags of character, yeah? Then, round about 78, I test rode an Electra Glide, a full dresser, if you like, as they would be these days. And dear God, it was awful, absolutely bloody awful. It almost shook me fillings out. Yeah, it was terrible. So I forgot about Harleys then, and it wasn't until the mid to late 90s, possibly 98, and my wife and I, we used to work or volunteer as security marshals for the BMF at their BMF shows and whatnot. And a lot of bike manufacturers in those days they'd turn up at these events, they'd say test rides, and they'd bring about 20 vehicles with them. And they'd say you book a test ride and you go out as a group for about half an hour, 45 minutes. Cost you nothing, you just sign your life away on a waiver and away you go. And I rode a Road King, and we were just so impressed how smooth it was. Yeah, it was comfortable. It wasn't overly noisy. It didn't rattle like the Triumph did, that was for sure. And we were just so impressed with this. And my wife commented, "We really must get one of these now." Well, okay then, fine. And it wasn't till a good while later when she said, "I think we can afford for you to have a Harley now," and hence the blue Glide over there. So that's how I got that. And this is stupid. Yeah, this has been worth every penny I paid for it, which wasn't that much, and we'll come to that a bit later. So, owning a Harley, yes, there's positives and there are negatives, as with most things. Positive, right? So value for money, okay? You buy a new one, and you are going to be signing your life away, yeah? Unless you've got a wad so thick you could beat a whale to death with it, then the chances are you won't be able to afford a new one, unless you're signing your life away on what they call them. It used to be a hire purchase agreement, a credit agreement. But you can pick up a good second-hand one, because a lot of, I won't name the club, but a lot of them, after 3 years, when the new ones come out, they buy a new one. So they might have only done about 5,000 or 6,000 miles, if that. And so you've got a low mileage Harley that's been well looked after with a full service history. Okay, you buy it from a dealership, you're going to be paying top price for it, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. I mean, my old Glide came with a full service history. It had 20,000 dry miles up when I bought it, and it was 12 years old. It wasn't that expensive. Like I say, full service history. Never been out in the bloody rain. It was fantastic. Never been buggered about with. It was stock with a capital St. I've fiddled with it since then just to mildly tune it to my taste, but nothing over the top that's going to affect the longevity of the engine. So she just tipped 124,000 miles the other day while we were out, which for a motorcycle, it's not too shabby, is it? So so you can get a good second-hand one, or even from a private individual, you can get a good second-hand one. You might not want to go for a Glide. You might want something. You might want something smaller, like a 1200 Sportster, or a 998 or something like that. Or you might, if you've got the big bucks, you can go for the big bikes, of course. But the smaller ones are still affordable. I mean, for 4 to 6 grand, you can pick up a really good low mileage Sportster. Yeah, and they're just as much fun as the big ones. They haven't got as much grunt. They've got small petrol tanks, which is a disadvantage, but that's a style thing. I think if I owned something like that, I'd want a bigger tank on it, because I tend to do, I mean, like today, I did just pootling around Lincolnshire. I've done 90 odd miles. So, and that's just on a sunny day, but if I'm going up north or I'm going down to Norfolk or places like that, I don't want to be filling up every 90 miles. Filling up every 120, 200 miles is fine. Anyway, by the by. So age isn't important necessarily. You can get a good second-hand one at a reasonable price. Right, comfort. On the Glides, with the nice big seats, they are stupidly comfortable. well, for me anyway, and for my wife, although she doesn't ride anymore due to ill health, which is excellent for fatigue-free long-distance travel. 200 miles on this. By then you're ready to stop for fuel anyway, yeah, and you can still get off and walk about, yeah, and that's 200 non-stop miles, yeah. So you can shoot off a motorway, and it's not a problem. Motorway speeds, yeah, not a problem. And it is stupidly comfortable. Economy, I can get 50 plus out of the Glide, just tooling around. On long distances I get a little bit more, but 50 miles per gallon is, I think, is the average. So you're talking on the big tank 150, 200 miles between stops. Yeah, so once again that ties in nicely for the comfort. By the time you're ready for petrol, you're ready to get off and stretch your legs and have something to eat. And it also, that makes touring affordable, because you're not burning through huge quantities of petrol when you're getting anywhere. The only problem is with this, it doesn't like E10, it likes E5. So I'm having to pay E5 prices, which is a bit of a shame. Now the negatives. Yeah. Perceived attitude. Yeah, people tend to think that you're an outlaw biker. Yeah, well, when you've been with motorcycles as long as I have, with the friends that I've had, yeah, I can understand where they've got that from. I have worn a back patch on a few occasions. I don't anymore, and I don't necessarily want to, because I like to do my own thing. I don't want to be part of a club, or a brotherhood, call it what you will. Yeah, I'm, I suppose, what they used to term back in the 70s, sort of a lone wolf kind of thing. But the attitude is there. You ride a Harley, you must be a Hell's Angel. Urgh, yeah, big hard biker. Urgh. No, I'm just an old bloke that's having a good time. Leave me alone. Yes, I do have an attitude. Oh, yes, do I. But it's just age-related intolerance to cretins. Yeah. If you're an idiot and you're talking to me about crap, you're going to find me very intolerant. But that's, like I say, age-related. Accused of being a poser. Yeah, I can see where that fits in too. I mean, I've been on ride outs, and there are some, the club in particular, that, yeah, they are perceived as posers, and yeah, definitely some of them are. You see it in all walks of life. You get posers. But oh, something fell down out there. So I've got the back door open because it's absolutely baking today. What's the temperature today? It's 80 degrees here now, which is what, 25 centigrade. It's stupidly hot, and the humidity is 45, so it's a bit uncomfortable. Anyway, digress. Yeah, being a poser. And this comes not so much from non-bike riders, but from other bike riders. Yeah, especially sports bike riders. Yeah, you do you is what I say. Yeah, I don't pose. If I look like I'm posing, it's because I'm enjoying myself. If I'm smiling and waving at people, it's because I'm having a bloody good time. If that upsets you because you're not, that's not my problem. That's your problem. If the bike you're riding is bloody uncomfortable and you can barely walk after doing 50 miles, that's not my problem either. Anyway, yeah, so it's always been like it, this poser stuff. You can't do much about bigotry. Yeah, if someone's a bigot, they're a bigot. So I tend to ignore it up to a point where my attitude kicks in. And then we then get the perceived attitude coming in as well. Who's a Hell's Angel? He's getting hard up. He's getting angry at me. Yeah, cobblers. The worst bit, the absolute worst bit, is spares. Easy to get hold of, not a problem. I still get spares for my 35-year-old Electra Glide, but the prices are stupid. They really are. And it could well be that it's Harley Davidson received as a prestige model. I suppose a bit like the difference between spares for my Mitsubishi Lancer or my wife's Toyota Celica and a BMW or a Mercedes. Yeah, the price of the spares just ramp up stupidly, and I think that's possibly what it is. It's a prestige model. I mean, parts for the Honda, pff, yeah, easy peasy, dirt cheap, absolutely dirt cheap, but not for the Glide. Oh no. And we're not talking about OEM parts, I'm talking about aftermarket parts as well. Stuff that's made, you know, in Taiwan and Vietnam and places like that. Yeah, we all know how much they're made for, but the markup is absolutely crazy. Yeah. So yeah, the thought that, well, if you've got a Harley, you must have loads of money. Cobblers. There's a lot of us out there running Harleys on a shoestring. Yeah, so that's about all I've got to say on the matter. Owning a Harley, I enjoy it. This one fits me fine. It might not fit someone else. Someone might want a Nightster or a shotgun or something like that. They're all different. Personally, I want something I can ride, do stupid miles on without putting me back out. The only problem is, of course, the bloody thing's heavy. And I'm starting to feel it now with my age. I'm starting to feel the fact, yeah, that she weighs 700 pounds dry. You can work that out in kilograms if you like. Yeah, 700 pounds dry, so you can imagine what it's like with 5 gallons of fuel on board. It's incredibly heavy. Once you're rolling, of course, you don't notice it, but moving it around the car park, oh, geez. But anyway, that's the price you pay for owning a Harley. Pardon me. So, yes, so anyway, that's enough of my waffle. You've had 18 minutes of it so far. I'm sure you're possibly sick to the back teeth of hearing my voice. I did have a script tonight because, of course, no expense spared, because I didn't want to miss anything. So I'm taking a couple of days off from riding the bike because I've got stuff to do around home, and if I don't get it done, you know what it's like, all you married blokes. You certainly do. So yeah, so without further ado, I shall bog off. I think I've got a cold tinny or two in the fridge. So all you guys look after yourself, and you girls, of course, and all you folks look after yourself. Yeah, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Was I right? Was I wrong? Yeah, just let me know, guys. Take care. See you around. Keep it rubber side down, and I'll see you on the next one. Toodaloo.